Now, today we're going to be talking about how you can prepare an itinerary for your visa application. Now, most times I do get people in the comments who would ask that I share a sample itinerary, with them. Now, if I'm sharing a sample itinerary with you, I'm basically just maybe giving to you my own personal itinerary, because when I submit one for my visa application, I usually make it very detailed regarding the things that are personal to me and the things that I plan to do at that destination. So it's you don't want someone else duplicating, what you have prepared. So that's why I always advise people to prepare their own itinerary and then make it, relevant to their trip or to what they plan to do when they get to that destination. So I'm going to put you through, and also you would find out how you can prepare one for yourself. But before we go on, I wrote a book and it's called Girls Don't Travel Just for Flowers. Now, if you don't have a copy of this book yet, you are wrong. To get a copy of this book, if you're abroad, you can get it from Lulu Bookstore. If you're in Nigeria, the bookstores where you can get one of it is RovingHeights. You can actually buy on RovingHeights and have it delivered to you. And then if you want an author's copy, that's, a copy that has been autographed by me, you would have to book directly, to the website, or you can just send me a message here and then I would just let you know how you can get a copy of this book. So this is a book that you need to read, not just you, your children need to read it. It is something that I think everyone would relate with. It's not just about travel adventure. It is deeper than that. It's a light read, but with really, really deep, and powerful, I call it a powerful book, so get a copy for yourself. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about, before you want to prepare an itinerary, what should you do first? First, you must have your travel date that you have actually planned out, and because what that would include, what that would mean is that you would need to do a brief, like I've seen different types of itinerary. You can decide, if you decide to just throw it in words and maybe just write it briefly, I plan to spend 10 days. Out of the 10 days, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'll spend 5 days here. I would do, your itinerary can look, anyhow you want it to look. But if you're looking for a comprehensive one that would make, I have told you several times here how I prepared my visa application and itinerary to go to the Brazilian embassy. And when the consul general looked at my document, he said he was actually impressed. He asked if I prepared it myself. I told him yes. And then he said he was actually impressed as at how detailed it was. So if you want to make that good impression, then stick with me. Now, the first thing you want to do is that you want to ensure that you have your travel dates sorted. Now, what that means is that if you're traveling in December, you're going to say that you're traveling from the 1st to the 14th of December. That's what I mean by having the dates, decided. And then what you're going to do is that for countries that require you to have a flight itinerary, you want to ensure that this travel date reflects the itinerary that the tickets, the dummy ticket or whatever you're presenting, to show that that's, like I always say, it's not advisable to pay for flight tickets when you're not sure that you're going to get the visa. What you want to do is that you want to have a booking that has a PNR. You can either do it yourself, the airlines that can actually allow you generate a PNR without paying. Otherwise, if you contact your ticketing agent, they would be able to do that for you, either for free or at a little, a minimal charge. So once you have an itinerary that shows that you travel from the 1st, this is an example, to the 14th of December, then you want to include in your itinerary the date that you plan to travel. And in this case, you'll be saying a brief, if let's say you're going to celebrate your birthday, you're traveling with friends to celebrate your birthday, you're just saying an itinerary showing my travels, with friends to celebrate my upcoming birthday from the 1st to 14th of December. And then another thing you need to do before you move ahead is you have to ensure that you have your accommodation sorted out. Now, you have to have an accommodation, the hotel booking, and then it should also reflect the date that you have also said that you would be traveling. Now, your departure date and your arrival date, those are things you don't want to mess with. You don't want to show that, okay, you're departing on the 14th. but yet your accommodation, you don't have an accommodation that covers that period. Like I said, you don't have to pay for, if you're planning ahead of time, there are hotels, if you book, there are booking websites that actually allow you to a long time, to cancel that accommodation. If you don't plan to travel, all you just need to do is read the fine print when you're booking, because some of them have non-refundable option, but most of them would have refundable options up until a week, or even sometimes 3 days or a day before your trip. So you want to ensure you read the fine print when you're making that booking. So once you have your booking itinerary, the next thing you want to do is that you want to have details of what you plan to do in that destination. If you're visiting family and friends, it's simple. You just need to show what you're going to be doing. If you're traveling on your own solo, then you need to include tour activities that you would be engaging in when you get to that destination. Now, once you have that covered, you can decide if you want to just state it out in words or if you want to include them in tables. For me, I always create a column, I always create different columns. I would have a brief introduction that says, let's say I'm going for my birthday, a 14-day trip, that I have planned, to celebrate my birthday with friends. This is what it would include: relaxation, shopping, for example, tour activities to this place, and this place, if there are more, destinations that I plan to visit. And then I would include in tabular form, I would include a date. I would have something that says day 1. And day 1 would be my departure. I would state that day 1, I would depart from, let's say, Lagos, Nigeria to this destination, XYZ destination. And then for me, I always take it further, to include, once I arrive, I would put the name of the airport where I'm going to be landing. I would put the one where I live and the one where I live, just to show that, look, I'm serious about this. And then I would include my departure from the airport, to my hotels. I would include something like check-in to this XYZ hotel, which of course will be the same hotel that I already have, already booked, to prove to them that this is the hotel where I plan to stay. And then later that evening, I could say something like either rest or maybe something like welcome dinner with friends or something like that. So day 2, if I have any tour activities planned, I would say, I would also include, let's say like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. breakfast, 10 a.m. to let's say 2 p.m. walking tour of the city, of the old town or something, whatever I have planned for that day, I would include it. And that I would do for every other day that I plan to, stay in that country. So if let's say, for example, I'm going to the Schengen area, because I know particularly the Schengen countries usually would request for an itinerary from you. If you're going to any other destination, you're allowed to include more than one hotel booking that you have made, to that other destination. So if you're leaving, let's say you're going to go to Paris, and then maybe from Paris you're going to go to Nice. So let's say I'm going to Nice on day 5, from Paris. I just include, departure from Nice, from Paris to Nice, on this day. And then at this time, which I know, by this time I would have arrived. Maybe I already have a ticket that I have already booked, and I know by this time, and then arrive Nice and then depart to my hotel. I would include the name of the hotel. And then for the days to follow, I would also include details of the activities that I plan to do each day that I would be spending in Nice, France. And then if I'm going to any other Schengen country, I would also include that for the entire period that I plan to stay. So typically that is what, my itinerary would look like. You have to do the homework to find out the activities that you plan to do there, because I'm not going to decide that. You're the one who wants to travel. There's a reason why you want to travel. If you're attending a conference and then your conference would last 5 days, you just need to write that in details. And then, or maybe also include, because let's say you have the conference that starts maybe at 9 a.m. and then finishes maybe about 3 to 4 p.m. You can have an itinerary that shows what you're going to be doing after the conference. Maybe just shows that, okay, after the conference, you're going to dinner with friends, or maybe you're going to do maybe like an evening tour of the city center or something. You just want to include that. If you're attending a wedding, it's very simple. You want to show, the activities, the wedding party, meeting the family, meet and greet, those kind of activities that just shows that yes, you have a plan. Now, if someone was going to prepare an itinerary for you, it would look like that. It would, let's say if you're working with a group of people and then you want to ensure that everyone follows the plan, then you actually would put time so that you're sure that people would stick to the time, put the destination so that that people know exactly what they're doing on each day. And that's what they want from you. Want to make it look like what a natural person would do. Now, what would that look like? You would have rest days in between, so feel free to include rest days. And then of course your departure, ensure that your departure is in sync with what you have in your flight itinerary. Now, this is something that you can do for yourself and for free. But if you do require, that service, if you think that's okay, I don't have the time to do that, then you have to pay for it. Because if something you can do for free and then you want someone else to do it for you, then you would pay for it. Now, if you contact us and then you pay for the 1 hour session, it's something that we can, based on what you advise us in terms of what you plan to do in that destination, is something that we can prepare for you. So I would also include the link, for our support service. You can go if you want to take advantage of it. We can do one for you, but it's only included in the 1 hour session. So let me know if you have any questions, drop it here and then let me know if you have any question, for me. So I hope that you'll be able to prepare one for yourself. If you do want to learn how to write a compelling, cover letter, because I always advise people whenever you're making an application that requires you submit documents, always accompany your visa application with a cover letter. And there's a video, I would include the link here so you can go watch that video to find out how you can write a compelling visa application cover letter, so your visa will get approved. So I hope that helps. Now, thank you very much. My name is Otto Tom, and I'm a travel content creator. Now, I make it easy for you to apply for visas and get it. And I also give you recommendations on things that you can do in the destinations that you plan to go to. So all you need to do is just search the keyword for whatever destination that you want to go. If I've been there, trust me, you would find the information to make it easier for you. So I hope that this helps. Now, leave your comments and then I will respond to them. Now, have a good day. Bye. Hi, my name is Otto Tom, and I'm happy to present to you my new book, Girls Don't Travel Just for Flowers. Now, let me tell you a short story about a girl called Ayanti. Ayanti is a young African girl who grew up in a small village. Her favorite pastime was spotting planes in the sky while playing with other children. She would spend time watching planes soar and dreaming of the moment she would be on one. She filled her days with purpose because she knew her dreams would come true. No challenge felt too big for Ayanti. Not because life was easy, but because her courage was always bigger than her fears. Now, 1 year changed everything, and it was the year Ayanti took her first international flight. She believed in her daydreams, not miracles, but it was a miracle that happened. Now, Girls Don't Travel Just for Flowers is the story of that miracle. With each destination, Ayanti's view of the world expanded, and so will yours as you journey through the pages of this book. Imagine a world where courage fuels your dreams. Now, would you live it intentionally? Too often, we postpone our happiness, believing that it lies in achieving certain milestones or acquiring material wealth or rewards. Now, the truth is, our time here is brief, and that makes happiness urgent and not optional. This book is more than just an adventure. It is a tribute to resilience, passion, and the boldness it takes to create a life that feels like your own. Now, I hope this book inspires you to find joy in your everyday, and to fiercely protect the happiness that you have created for yourself, no matter the circumstances. Because here's the truth. We are not here long enough to live unhappily. Now, to get a copy of this book, you can go to www.workaholic.com, where you can order a copy of Girls Don't Travel Just for Flowers.